Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 45 to 50.
त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदाः निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थः निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान् यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्ध्यसिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगाधनञ्जय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाफलहेतवः बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृतदुष्कृते तस्माद्योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
The thought flow in this second chapter so far has been that Arjuna, realizing his delusion, his confusion, surrenders to Sri Krishna on the 7th shloka of this chapter, and then he becomes the disciple, accepts Sri Krishna as the Guru. Thereafter, Sri Krishna diagnoses what is the actual problem, which Swami Chindanandaji used to call it as Arjuna disease. What is the disease Arjuna is suffering from? He named it as Arjuna disease. What is the cure for it? He names it as Krishna cure. So the Krishna cure actually starts from shloka number 11 of this chapter. So from verse number 11 to 13, he's talking about Atma Anatma Viveka. The first topic from verses 1 to 10 is where Arjuna is continuing his despondent condition and surrendering. So you can say Arjuna's despondent condition, Arjuna Sharanagati. Then from 11 to 30, he talks about Atma Anatma Viveka, indestructibility of the Atma. Your original self is eternal, all-pervading, indestructible, endless, infinite. It is non-doer, therefore it is non-enjoyer, no papa punya for the Atma. It doesn't do any action, it is akarta, it is abhokta, it also doesn't enjoy anything. And then it is sakshi. So many pointers he gave from 11 to 30. And then he said, even in case you still want to continue thinking that this Atma, or rather you, the individual, you are only able to see yourself as a body, mind, intellect complex enlivened by Atma, this embodiment, then also there is no problem, because you move from one body to another, just like now you are moving from childhood to youth to old age, and then you will move to another body according to your vasanas. So we discussed here that death is nothing but transference of subtle body along with causal body from one gross body to another gross body in the medium of pure consciousness, that is death. So the transference happens only with reference to the body, mind, intellect, and the what do you call, the vasanas, the gross body, subtle body, and vasanas. These are destructible. But the Atma, which is the pure consciousness, the subtlest, it is neither born nor does it die. It is beyond destruction. There is nothing to grieve. This much he told in verses 11 to 30. Then 31 to 40, he emphasizes on doing one's duty. After having gained this knowledge, all you need to do is plunge into doing your duty. He tells Arjuna, your duty is, as per your nature, you are a Kshatriya. Therefore, your duty is to fight the battlefield, fight the battle and establish righteousness instead of trying to escape. So stand up and deliver, he says. How do you have to do? He says, Sukha dukke same kritva, labha labho jaya jayo, tato yuddhaya yujyasva, na evam papama vapsyasi. Meaning, first you got to make yourself balanced in both sukha, dukkha, meaning pleasure and pain. And then labha, alabha, profit, loss. Then jaya, ajaya, victory, defeat. Now, he is only giving three pairs of opposites at different levels of your personality. But world is nothing but pairs of opposites. You understand? World is full of pairs of opposites. Another name of the world is Dvandva in Sanskrit, which means what? Pairs of opposites. So when you face the challenges of life, you will either be profitable or you will be losing. So there will be profit, loss, honor, dishonor, joy, sorrow, pleasure, pain, censure, and praise. All these are part and parcel of life. He says, you don't work for them. These are all results. You don't work for them. You should work for something higher. And then only you can be balanced in all this. And these things doesn't matter. Your mind shifts to something beyond. So pitch up a higher goal, surrender to that goal without concerning about the results while doing the action. You continue. Then you should continue doing your duty. Then there is no papa. In Vedantic language, papa means punya also, means no vasanas. There are no agitations for you. You won't be increasing vasanas, you'll be reducing vasanas. And then he said, so far I explained to you logically, gave you Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. What is Sankhya Yoga? Sankhya Yoga is explaining the, explaining the philosophy using the logic and reason and coming to an irrefutable conclusion. That's what I've done to you so far. I give you Jnana Yoga. Now I will teach you Buddhi Yoga, he says. What is Buddhi Yoga? When we say Buddhi, in English, what is it? It is nothing but intellect. And intellect is of two types. What are they? Gross intellect and subtle intellect. When you function within the realm of the world, you are discriminating within the realm of the world, you are using gross intellect. Gross intellect functions only within the realm of the world. Whatever you have to discriminate within the realm of the world, the terrestrial world, you are using gross intellect. But when you have to discriminate between the terrestrial and the transcendental, then you are using Sukshma Buddhi, that is subtle intellect. You are using subtle intellect. So he says, you got to use the subtle intellect, direct it towards the goal of self-realization. Then it becomes Karma Yoga. So you have to direct your actions for the sake of liberation, moksha. But what will ultimately give you moksha is only knowledge. Because the suffering is because of what? The suffering is because of ignorance. Ignorance of your true nature. Because of ignorance of your true nature, you get attached to the world, thinking yourself to be this limited individual, having the imagination that you are this limited personality. You would want to feel complete by constantly pursuing the world and getting attached. Because the mind gets attached to what you do not have. Sorry, it gets attached to what you have and craves for what you do not have. So you get attached. And when you get attached or crave, automatically there is dukkha, sorrow. So Krishna cure is what? You got to gain the knowledge about yourself and get rid of this vasanas, these attachments and then become free. That is what we call as moksha. God plus vasanas or desires equals man, human being. Human being minus vasanas or desires equals God. Meaning, you go beyond your vasanas, you realize the self. But to go beyond the vasanas, ultimately what will help you is knowledge. But knowledge will not go into you if you are completely preoccupied with the worldly thoughts and desires. So therefore, you have to first cleanse yourself of the worldly thoughts and desires. You must understand the passing, fleeting, trivial nature of this universe. Anything and everything that the world can offer you at the physical level, material level, physical level, emotional level, intellectual level, at all levels, whatever you can achieve in this world, they are all coming under one category only. What is that category? Agama payinaha anityaha. They come and go. They are all temporary, ephemeral. They are not eternal. So you need to develop that thought purification or chitta shuddhi. This, when you develop, you have attained chitta shuddhi. So to attain chitta shuddhi, you just simply sit and study will not work. You got to act. Therefore, he says, I will teach you buddhi yoga, which is nothing but karma yoga in the context. Using your subtle intellect, directing it towards the higher goal of self-realization. But when you are not able to directly conceive of self-realization, you are not in that level, first initially think of self-development. You understand? So therefore, karma yoga is meant for what purpose? Chitta shuddhi. Karma yoga is meant for chitta shuddhi. Thought purification. The inside has to be purified. You have to eliminate tamas, you have to eliminate rajas, and establish yourself more and more in sattva. Only when you establish yourself more and more in sattva, can you go to beyond sattva, beyond all gunas, nirguna tattva, which is Brahman, Atman. Therefore, you have to act. You cannot escape from action. So that is why in the Veda Purva Bhaga, which is the first portion of the Vedas, they teach a lot of rituals. Performing those rituals mechanically, nothing will happen. But when you understand them and do it with awareness, using the buddhi, yeah. So when you are when you do action using buddhi, you are thinking of something higher. You are not thinking of the lower. You understand? That's how you have to constantly take the mind to the higher. Whole spiritual practice, whatever you do, whether you do karma, bhakti, jnana, jo bhi hota hai, only one thing, what? Mind that is now completely focusing only on the world has to be taken towards the Atma, the self. Before you can go to Atma, Brahman and all that, you work in the world. So Veda Purva Bhaga I was talking about. In Veda Purva Bhaga, so in the Veda Purva Bhaga, they talk about various rituals. You know, you want to fulfill the desire of something material, or you want children, you want success, you want power. For everything, there is there are rituals, and there are certain sadhanas that you have to do. Prepare your mind. There are certain mantras and shlokas. There are certain rites that you got to perform. All these are there. When you do that, your subconscious get prepared, and it will push your conscious body, mind, intellect to work in that direction. You will achieve the results. So therefore, he says, you've got to use the ritualistic portion to rise above the desires while you fulfill them also. Not get stuck there. Should not just get stuck there. Should rise above it. So, instead of rising above, many of the people, they get stuck in the ritualistic portions. And they say, what is there beyond all this? Because themselves have said, So, it disturbs the thought flow, So, Therefore, the rituals, you do rituals, nothing wrong. Not only nothing wrong, you should do in the beginning so that you purify your thoughts for chitta shuddhi. And then when you get to upasana, upasana is nothing but manasa vyapara. Your mind is engaged in upasana. In karma, physical body is more engaged. Kayika, vachika, manasa. These are the three ways in which we approach the divinity. Kayika and vachika is more in karma. It's not that manasa is not there, but more in karma. When you do karma yoga, the rituals, or in the modern context, any action, there is more of kayika and vachika, meaning body and organ of speech. When it comes to upasana, there is more of manasa. So there is a saguna Ishvara with form, Lord with form. You direct your thoughts towards that, and then slowly, slowly train your mind to become single pointed. So what are we trying to achieve through karma yoga? We are trying to achieve chitta shuddhi. And what are we trying to achieve through bhakti yoga or upasana yoga? Chitta ekagrata. You understand? Single pointedness. Once you are ready, then you become qualified to gain knowledge. Jnana yogyata. With the qualification to gain knowledge, you will be able to gain the knowledge and then go into dhyana, meditation, and through meditation you can realize. This is the idea. Not knowing this, people indulge in rituals just to fulfill their desires, thinking that when you fulfill the desires, that's it. You'll drop the desires. No. You fulfill one desire, you increase another 10 desires. One more and more and more. Therefore, you're not supposed to indulge in merely fulfilling the desires. It's a technique which they talk about. So don't do just karma. Do it as karma yoga. But not knowing this, fellows get involved in Veda Purva Bhaga, the ritualistic portion, purely for the pleasures of the world and Swarga, etc. This he criticizes from verses 41 to 44. That was the discussion we had in the last class. So what happens is, we get somehow involved. So he wants to caution us not to get involved. Do not get involved. So that topic from 41 to 44 is what? Desire-ridden actions. Desire-ridden actions only will increase more and more desires. So desire-ridden action means simply doing karma, not doing it as karma yoga. This you must understand. So he criticizes us and says, what is the use, man? You will have some satisfaction, but I'm being spiritual. I'm following some spiritual practices. I'm following rituals. I'm going to the temple, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But for what purpose? Only to simply fulfill your desires. That should not be the case. You should also fulfill the desires. Nothing wrong. Not only nothing wrong, you should. And you should also rise above them. That technique is called Karma Yoga. It's a technique. That he talks about in detail in the 3rd chapter. He introduces it in the next shlokas, starting from 45. He talks about it in detail in verse number 47, very famous shloka. So, with this background, now let's get on to shloka number 45.
Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunyo Bhavajuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastaha Niryogakshema Atmavan.
Traigunya Vishaya Veda. Veda again is referring to the Veda Purva Bhaga. What is the Veda Purva Bhaga? I mentioned to you, every Veda has 4 parts. Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, Upanishads. Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka put together, they talk more on rituals. very little on philosophy. So what purpose I mentioned to you just now? For Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata. So you have to use the Veda Purva Bhaga and come to Vedanta Bhaga. The Antubhaga of Vedas is Upanishads, which talks about the philosophy of life and living. That philosophy, which is given in Vedanta Bhag, Upanishads, is what is given elaborately in Bhagavad Gita. You understand? So, he says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda. The Vedas deal with three gunas, attributes. Which one is referring to? The first three portions. Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka. The beginning portion. They deal with these three gunas. Meaning, this entire universe is a manifestation of the Maya Shakti, which is inherent in Ishvara. This we discussed in one of the classes. So, all this is pertaining to that level. It is nothing to do with gaining knowledge of Brahman. It is preparation towards that gaining knowledge. Remember that. It is preparation towards gaining that knowledge. So therefore, to that extent, it is very, very important and valuable. But it is not end all and be all of life. The problem is we make it end all and be all of life. That's the problem. So therefore, he says, Vedas deal with Traigunya, about the world only, nothing more than that. So the Vedas deal with three gunas, attributes. And then Sri Krishna says, be thou free, O Arjuna, from the three gunas, from the pairs of opposites. Meaning what? Your mind, be thou free means your mind should be free. Your mind should be free from the preoccupations of the world. So he says, be thou free from the pairs of opposites, profit, loss, all the time. See, you may wonder when he says pairs of opposites, we'll take one pair of opposites. Profit, loss. Now your question may come, we are only preoccupied with profit, no? Where are we preoccupied about loss? You just think little bit. When you are preoccupied about profit in life, you are also mentally worried that you should not get into loss. So every one of us are preoccupied by both these pairs of opposites at all levels. That's why when winter comes, we talk about cold, cold, cold. We are waiting for the summer. When summer comes, we talk about, hot, hot, hot. We are waiting for the cool weather to come. Meaning our mind is all the time on the lower aspects of life. The fact that our mind is on the lower aspects of life, we are going through pathetic life. So the whole idea is to lift the mind. You understand? You have to lift your mind towards the higher. There is this song of Adnan Swami, Adnan Swami. Lift karade, So we have to lift the mind to the higher. That training we need to give. So he says, be thou free, O Arjuna, from the three gunas, free from the pairs of opposites. And then remain ever in sattva. Meaning, you have to reduce tamas, reduce rajas, and increase sattva more and more. That's the purpose of life. Eliminate tamas, reduce rajas, and establish yourself more and more in sattva. When you establish yourself in sattva, as the rajas and tamas dies away, when you come to 100% sattva, only one guna cannot exist because maya means all three has to be there. So when you come to that level, you will go beyond sattva, which is Brahman. Brahman is nirguna tattvam. Maya is triguna atmika. The nirguna tattvam, the consciousness, the pure consciousness, mixing with maya is Ishvara. And maya is manifesting as these three gunas, these five elements, this entire universe. Therefore, when he says Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha, means it's the Vishaya pertaining to the world. The discussion pertaining to the world, how to fulfill the desire, how to achieve this desire, etc. You need that little bit you need to achieve so that you understand. Arey, itna hi hai kya? Whereas I thought this will give me that and that. Arey, isme kuch nahi hai, itna hi hai. You understand? So, for example, you are going on working for, um, car. You get the car. But if you are a thinking type, not following rituals mechanically, not doing karma actions that you have to do to evolve in life and achieve things materially, if you don't do it mechanically, at some point in time you'll understand, yes, what is this? Big deal. I thought this car will bring me joy. But until I got it, I was unhappy. But with this car, I'm not happy also. Because I want better car, want better things in life. Therefore, these are not the ultimate purpose of life. You will understand. You should understand. Then ask questions as to what are the higher aspects of life. Then take your mind away from what? He says, free from acquisition and preservation. Yoga Kshema. He says, Niryoga Kshema. Yoga in this context means uniting, achieving, attaining what you have not attained. Kshema means retaining, preserving what you have achieved. Our whole life is simply preoccupied in this, isn't it? Yoga, Kshema. Yoga, Kshema. Yoga, Kshema. All the time worried about yoga and Kshema, nothing else. Meaning acquisition, preservation. Acquisition, preservation. Till you acquire, your focus is on acquiring. And once you have acquired, how to preserve. In the Bhajagovindam, Adi Shankara says, for a wealthy person by which what he means is, for a person whose focus is only on accumulating. In that context, that's what Adi Shankara means. Your focus is only in accumulating, aggrandizing, hoarding. Such fellows are even afraid of their own sons, he says. In the Bhajagovindam, Adi Shankara says this. Afraid of his own sons means they are there waiting to take it away. Supposing you are the chairman of an organization, of a big business factory that you are running. You continue as chairman. Your children are now, let's say, 35. Then when you keep on growing, 80, they're also growing. So now when you are 85, you are still chairman. But your son has become 60 years old. But now I am only executive director, managing director. When am I going to become chairman? Which means what? When will you die? Because you are also not ready to give it up. So in other words, this insecurity continues. So that's why he says, you have to rise above this acquisition and preservation preoccupation. Mind is constantly preoccupied with these acquisitions and preoccupations. Acquisitions and preservation. And you should become free from all this and get established in this. Your direction should change. See, as you mature, the mind should change towards the higher. See, when you were a small child, playing with teddy bear is okay. Supposing you are 25, 30 years old, you are coming to the Vedanta class. You keep a teddy bear with you. People will laugh at you. Which means what? You have not moved on. You're still childish. You've got to grow. So Gita, Vedanta helps a human being to grow to the maximum level to which one can grow. Swami Ramtirtha beautifully analyzes. He says, there are people who are mineral-like. See, when you analyze this world, what is this world made up of? Mineral kingdom, then vegetable kingdom, then animal kingdom, then human kingdom. So he analyzes human beings and says, some people are mineral-like. For example, you crack a joke in the class, no smiling or laughing. You say some very deeply moving story, no reaction. You quote Shakespeare, William Wordsworth, Thiruvallur, no reaction. Stone-like. So there are people like that. Mineral, like mineral. Highly tamasic. Then there is next level, slightly better. What is that? People who are vegetable-like. He calls all of them as vegetable men, vegetable human, men, woman, everybody. So now, plants are through the roots attached to the earth. They don't move from one place to another. They only grow vertically. They are dependent on their own survival for many others. Even if there's a river running few meters away, the plant won't be able to help itself. It will want somebody else to water the plant. So the dependence is there. There are people, even after growing so much, growing means physically growing, they will be constantly dependent on others, somebody or the other. Never do they become independent. Never do they become self-sufficient. So such people are vegetable men, he says. Vegetable human being. They are appearing in the form of human beings. They are more like vegetables. Then he talks about animal kingdom. Animal kingdom, they are slightly better than vegetable kingdom because they can go up to the river, drink water. They're slightly independent. But they are also terribly attached within their clan. So attachment is very much seen. A lot of emotions, but they become emotional also. They are emotional beings. So people are like that, relatively independent, but their attachment is also there on various factors, especially family, their business, etc. So such people, he compares them to animal kingdom and says they are animal-like, animal human beings. Human beings in the form of human beings, but animal-like. Then he says, this category, which is rare, what? Human category. Being in the human kingdom, seldom somebody is like human being. Whose dependence is very less, highly self-sufficient. Emotions are there, not becoming emotional. You understand? And the emotions are pure, identifying with a larger circle, etc., etc. You come under the category of human species. Simply because you're born as human being doesn't mean you become human being. So you have to rise higher, higher, higher. That's what he's saying. You have to keep on raising yourself. Then, when you keep on raising yourself, you will finally come to identifying with Atma, which is common in everybody. And you, in the last stage, you will get completely identified with Atma, losing the attachment with this individuality, which is when you have attained moksha or enlightenment. Then you are called as God-man. God-man nowadays is a derogatory term. You say God-man, they hate many of them. Because all sorts of nonsense they read about the so-called such category of people. But he is talking about the genuine, pure category who has reached that level, like Swami Ramtirtha, Swami Vivekananda, Swami Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Swami Ramana Maharishi, so many saints, sages. So, you should get established there. In other words, you should move from mineral to vegetable to animal to human to God. This is how you have to progress. Not get stuck somewhere. Don't get stuck in any level. Many of us don't go beyond animal level. Very few come into the human being category itself. So you have to keep on moving, keep on working upon ourselves. That's why I say in our classes, from a different angle, when you analyze, a Vedantin is a scavenger. You have to constantly keep on cleansing the dirts. The more you clean, the more you will find to be cleaned. You understand? There is no time for you to sit and talk and criticize about somebody else. If you are going on doing that, means you are imagining that you are perfect. You may have worse dirts in you than anybody else. But you may not see that. That's the problem. So therefore, you will think, you'll constantly think like this. That's why he says, you have to become free from all this. Free means mentally. He's not saying stop acquisitions. You can continue working in your world. Let the acquisitions become byproduct. Let them not become your primary goal in life. That's what he's saying. So, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirtwando Nitya Sattvastaha Niryogakshema Atmavan. The Vedas deal with the three yogas attributes. Be thou free, O Arjuna, free from the three gunas, free from the pairs of opposites, remain ever in sattva, purity, free from acquisitions and preservations, and establish yourself in the Atma, the self. Meaning, move from the periphery to the center. Vedanta helps you to move from the periphery to the center. Most of us are constantly in the periphery. We don't even understand that we got to move towards the center. Instead of moving towards the center within, doing sadhana, we want to move in the outside world here and there constantly. You understand? Tamasic fellows move to the tamasic environments. Rajasic fellows move to the rajasic environment. Sattvic fellows move to temples, pilgrimages, while without understanding that all these, okay, but for what purpose? To establish your thought in something higher. Pilgrimages is fine. You have to do maybe if you need. But end of the day, what it should be purifying your mind. Instead of that, you are, after going on pilgrimages every year, you've gone to many temples, and now you're so old, your body is not cooperating for you to go to any pilgrimage. So you think, Arey yaar, I haven't been to this Sri Rangam temple. I haven't been to, Tiruvannamalai temple. You've gone to many places. But these two temples you've not been. Then you will sit and cry. You are only thinking about, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen. The problem itself is the I. See, I is the problem. I in everything. Now this I we have to rise above. From the small I, you have to rise to Tera, you, yours. From me and mine, we have to move to yours, you and yours, Bhagavan. Then from there we have to move to understanding that Bhagavan is Sarvavyapi. He is everywhere. Bhagavan is everywhere, he is within me. That means my real nature is also Bhagavan only. So I have to move from the small I to God, G-O-D, you, to again capital I, me with capital M, Atma, which is within me. You understand? But we are only interested in moving from one temple to another temple, to one like Ganges to Yamuna. Then we have to go to Gangotri. Want to go to Varanasi? Want to go to... Nothing wrong. Please go. We are not criticizing going. But understand for what purpose. It's like, do you have to play with all the toys for you to become free from the toy world? Did we play with all the toys during our time so that we became free from the toy world now? No. You understood as you were playing with few toys, slowly you also got exposed to something higher. And you understood that this toy world is meaningless. Your mind also started shifting, getting established towards something higher, and then lost interest in the toy world. Isn't it? Completely lost interest in the toy world. Now, after 30, 40 years, your children may be playing with toy world, or grandchildren may be playing with toy world. Now, some of the toys that they are playing with, you never seen such toys in your life when you were growing up. Now, are you getting affected? Arey, I have not played with such toys. It would have been fantastic if these toys were there that time. Or can I just little bit play? I don't think so. I hope not. So, the thing is, you have risen above it without even playing with all the toys. Why? The mind got established in the higher. When your mind gets established in the higher, you become free from the lower. So that's the purpose of karma yoga. Continue being in the world, but also take your mind towards the higher and slowly, slowly become free from the lower. Keep moving. Give space for the next generation to continue. A beautiful way of functioning in life. In the beginning, you are a brahmachari, student. So you are supposed to focus in gaining the knowledge given in the schools and colleges. Strengthen yourself. Strengthen your roots. Don't worry about anything. Strengthen your personality. Your food, shelter, everything is taken care of. Your parents, your teachers, your society, everything they provide to you. All you need to be concerned is strengthening yourself by gaining this knowledge and reflecting over it and making it your original. Then you slowly graduate. Somewhere around 25, 30. You go up to PhD 30. Otherwise, post-graduation maybe 24, 25. Then only graduation about 20, 21. Up to that age you continue. Then you move to Grahastha Grahastha from Brahmacharya you move to. In Grahastha you start contributing to the society through some work or business or whatever. And you will be fulfilling your desires also. You are doing karma. You will be fulfilling your desires also. But if you are only using your knowledge, your skills to fulfill the desires, will be increasing it. Instead, he says, direct those actions towards the higher. How it has to be done, we'll discuss that when we go to 47. To do that. And then, slowly you will rise. You will become niryoga kshema. You will get established ever in sattva. You will become free from the pains of opposites. You meet your mind. Then what? Slowly, slowly you will get more and more established in sattva, means you're going closer and closer and closer towards the Atma. So what will happen? Slowly, when you be in Grahastha, you will be fulfilling your desires. And mind also shifting towards higher. So you go to the next stage, around 50, 55, 60. What stage? Vanaprastha stage. Vanaprastha stage means, Vanaprastha means forest. Dwelling in the forest. Being in the forest means Upanishads. That's what it is. Because these Upanishads were given in the jungle, forests, deep recesses of Himalayas. Brihad Aranyaka Upanishads. So, it's all given in the nature. So, moving towards the scriptures, that's what it means. Not that you have to go to forest or you have to go to your garden and then sit and study. Meaning, go more into deeper reflective lifestyle. Enough of touring the world, enough of doing all this. You must have understood, yeah, that's it, that stage. Then go into deeper studies. Then you go to sannyasa, where more of much deeper sadhanas and meditation, etc. Then through that you liberate. This is how whole thing is beautifully planned. When you understand this, that's what he's saying. Instead of becoming free from Vedas, you're holding on Vedas, quoting these Vedic verses. So this ritual has to be done in the morning. This ritual has to be done in the afternoon. This has to be done. This is, I'm doing it. I'm a perfect person. You guys are not doing. You know, in certain houses, people go through hell. The father. That's why a lot of youngsters they quit. They say, "Arey Baba, I don't want to get into any of these religious practices. I hate it because." The parents, they have this value for lighting the lamp. Of course, you should pass on it, pass it on to your children in a nice way, slowly, slowly, by you living it. But you know, what we do is, I'm not lighting the lamp, you are not doing puja, you are not doing this, you are not doing. They get so fed up and they don't want to do anything with religion or philosophy. And they confuse, they confuse philosophy with religion. Religion in the sense religious aspects. And they think this is also religious instead of being spiritual. So they get terrified. They don't want to come anywhere close. That's why he said Veda Vadarata. The quote. It is mentioned in the Vedas. You are quoting Vedas so much. If we are quoting Vedas so much in this country, how can our Ganges be so polluted? The Ganges, in the Vedas, the entire universe is equated to the Bhagavan, Vishwarupa. And the rivers are compared to the, the blood flow in a human being. Like in that Vishwarupa form, rivers are the blood flow. And the blood flow, we are keeping it so dirty. Even our temples are so dirty. Not all. So we have to learn, that's what the scriptures talk about. It's a place of worship. I have not been there. I have to do dhanam, dhanam, dhanam. A lot of people want to do dhanam. Okay, good. It is very good. Practice that. No problem. Very good. But you give dhanam on the road to so many people. You're giving food. But around that area, it becomes so dirty. Because first of all, you don't properly provide any facility for anybody to throw things in. They just throw it on the road, and even if you provide facility, fellows who come, they also throw it anywhere and everywhere. There is the concept that this entire universe is Bhagavan. Only your puja room in the house is Bhagavan. Only he is living there, she is living there, it is living there. So your concepts have to open up. It's okay in the beginning, like children have certain primitive ideas. We can have certain primitive ideas. That's acceptable in the beginning. But why should we grow up with these primitive ideas? This is the problem. In the name of religion, most of the battle is fought in today's context. Everywhere. Country and country fights. Within the country also we fight. In the name of religion. So that's why he says, this is a big headache. Veda, they only deal with the Traigunya, man. What's the big deal in becoming very good fellow? Sattva you increased. Morning I go to temple, sir. Evening also I go to temple. Then bhajans also I do. Then I distribute, I do a lot of seva. मैंने कर दिया अच्छा है okay अच्छा है but that's not everything वो अच्छा will not give you moksha liberation अच्छा will also keep you here only in the world. So what do you have to do? You have to become free from that also. You have to go beyond sattva also. Not just enough if you establish yourself in that. A lot of people say, I don't need to study Gita. Why should I study? I take care of my parents. I keep my house clean. I do my duty towards my children. I pay my taxes very regularly. I visit temples on the, like yesterday was Ganesh Chaturthi. I will go, I'll do this. Follow all the rituals, fine. I don't need Bhagavad Gita. You don't understand that most important aspect which Gita talks about, Vedanta talks about, Upanishad talks about. You don't understand. What is that? becoming free, bound. One fellow is bound by pubs, other fellow is bound by business. You are bound by rituals and religiosity. You've got to rise above that as well. You understand? So therefore, he says these Vedas, they deal with world only. Traigunya Vishaya, nothing higher. You should move from Vedas to Vedanta Upanishads. And ultimately, you have to move from Vedanta Upanishad also. So from that angle, you can interpret the word Vedas to Upanishad also, end portion of Vedas also. You have to go beyond that also. All the time going around only with Upanishads, not realizing what's the point. When Dhruva was meditating, Lord supposed to have appeared in front of him. He said, Beta Dhruva, I have come in front of you. Please open your eyes. He says, my mother told me, you are within me. You are outside of me now. I'm not opening my eyes. Come within me. Till you achieve that, your job is not done. That's what he's saying. So, the Vedas deal with three gunas, attributes pertaining to the world. Your interest should not be in just learning. A lot of this fellow is doing only one shloka sometimes in the classes. 701 slokas is there. This class itself started a few months ago. He's only come to 45th shloka of chapter 2. That also after he did not do the first chapter at all. He only gave the first chapter summary. We only did summary of first chapter. The first 10 shlokas we didn't do verse by verse of this chapter. From 11th verse till 45th verse के लिए इतना दिन हो गया. ये कब भगवद गीता खत्म करेंगे? When will I go to other scriptures? I am already 70-75. This is your worry, supposing that this verse is for you. The Vedas deal with three gunas, attributes. Be thou free, O Arjuna, from the three gunas, from the pairs of opposites, from the acquisition and preservation preoccupations. Establish yourself more and more in sattva. Become more and more objective. The job is not done till you realize the self. That should how you have to move. That's what he says. Don't get stuck. So from 45 this shloka till 53, the topic is what? Selfless, desireless, selfless actions lead you to self-realization. Desireless action, when you say, desire for the world is not there. Now desire for moksha is there. You understand, just being good in this world is not enough. I need to shift from this world to Atma. That final jump has to happen. That transformation has to happen. That it has to become complete. Transformation has to become complete. Till then, I'm not going to give it up. That is what he's saying. So, you have to establish yourself in the self. Every day, you've got to ask yourself, am I moving in the ladder of spirituality or not? Am I moving or not? That question I need to constantly ask myself. If I'm not moving, I'm stagnating somewhere, I got to push myself towards the higher. So remember, Vedas also you have to cross. Vedanta also you have to cross. You have to go beyond Vedanta. Antubhaga Vedas, Upanishads. You have to go beyond the Bhagavad Gita also and realize the self. In other words, don't stop with just merely attending these classes. Don't stop merely reading the book of Gita alone. Go beyond and digest the information that you get in these books and classes. And then try to implement them in your life. You understand? You've got to try to implement them in our lives. And testify, verify it. Test the veracity of it. Once you start seeing it yourself, then you will get into more and more. Then the transformation will happen completely, fully. Otherwise, it won't happen. It will be there. So these are all beautiful shlokas. If you can try to memorize, please do memorize. If you can't memorize, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But if you memorize, it's very helpful. Sometimes you are traveling in the bus or car. Somebody else is driving, let's say. You are sitting. You can start thinking about the shlokas, bring it out in the mind, and then think about the import of that particular shloka. Even if you can't memorize the words in English, if you can grab, move on. Don't get stuck. Should not get stuck. Continue moving till you realize the self. Let's conclude the class. Oh. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.